As far as top players returning from long absences goes, this one could be the most anticipated of the season. After 25 games on the sidelines, Paul George is finally back, and the timing couldn't be more critical. It's not just his box score that matters, but his influence on his teammates. Philadelphia stayed competitive without him, but with the roster finally whole, we can finally examine the return of Paul George. This was a cool moment to observe after Austin Krell posted footage of the grizzled veteran working with the impressionable rookie. The move George is trying to break down is an inside-out crossover. Success here depends on the right foot jab step, an action that needs to happen immediately after the ball hits the floor. You can see VJ has some work to do, as his jab is considerably later and less explosive. Still, having a talent like George helping with these isolation moves is already paying dividends. We got a glimpse when George started out of the corner off an Embiid down screen. Edgecombe turned a fake pass into a crossover, then added one more crossover as the defense froze. Since no one wanted to leave their man to help, he finished beautifully with the left hand. Check VJ's shooting splits since PJ's return. While this efficiency is impossible to sustain, here is why the numbers are so gosh darn high. To start the break, George is immediately scanning the floor for the rookie, knowing exactly how fast he is. I really dig this cross-court hook pass. It gives VJ a runway to absorb contact and finish soft off the glass with that left hand. George gets closer to the basket off the dribble. Notice how excited Edgecombe gets near half court. He knows how well PG can throw lobs on the run. My goodness. Here is more fast break goodness where George has the confidence to thread the needle with a pass above the circle. He realizes VJ is only one dribble away from another highlight that reminds me of another player whose second initial was J. Gravity is a popular term these days, and there is no question VJ can feast off the George tractor beam. On the delayed fast break, they catch the defense out of position. LaMelo simply must close out to Paul on the wing, which leads to a one more pass for an Edgecombe triple. When George is aggressive in early offense, look how far he can collapse the defense with three men surrounding him in the paint. When Embiid is also on the floor, be ready for wide open shots all over the place for the rookie. VJ's role in this offense is to play off the two stars. This possession starts with the goal of getting a mismatch in the post. When Embiid is fronted, it triggers high-low action as Dominic Barlow flashes to the nail. The defense is forced to double the monster on the block, and Joel expertly reads the floor to find the open man. In the past 4 games, VJ has been averaging 3 wide-open looks from deep and scorching them at 64%. But it's time to get into what Paul George brings to the table directly. A look at his last 5 games shows some very robust numbers, and along with the return of Joel Embiid and the continued brilliance of Tyrese Maxey, their offense has gone through the roof. And this means no one is going to want to play them in the playoffs, as they're just about to start, and that means you can cash in if you're right on Prize Picks. Use America's #1 sports pick app to choose higher or lower with every bucket, dime, and board they can grab. Not only can you get involved live during the games, they have a new market for team picks. You can now pick game winners and spreads and totals. And that goes for the tournament tonight and on Monday. So what are you waiting for? In the pros, you can even pick who will win the whole thing, the MVP, and other awards. For my first time picking teams, I'm going with UConn and Michigan today, and it's going to make watching these games so much more exciting. Download the Prize Picks app today and pick your first game winner, spread, or total as the playoff push rolls on. And get $50 in daily fantasy lineups when you play your first $5 lineup when you use code CLNS. That's code CLNS to get $50 in daily fantasy lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. The first thing that jumped out at me is how the Sixers will have PG begin in the corners, where he's been making a living his whole career. It's as simple as a handoff out top that flows into a pin down for him going to his left. This means his shooting hip and elbow are already aligned on the catch, and it's one good reason he's been over 42% from beyond the arc since his return. Or they can put him in the left corner and run a dribble handoff, which forces a switch. He patiently analyzes the situation before attacking the middle to finish off 2 feet strong off the glass. I like this set where he can choose which screen to cut off of, either a double staggered pin down to the top or a single cross screen to the strong side for a post up. It looks like they want to post him up more and more, and it's unclear how defenders are going to stop someone who's quick and strong like he is. and PG can use the space in the corner to get to his one-on-one ISO game. Check the outside tween into a scissor hop for a perfect alignment and quick release before the defender can get a hand up. Which then leads us to another vital aspect of his game the Sixers are going to need in the playoffs: his isolation ability when the team offense fails to generate a good look. I like how this flows from a pin down by Embiid into a ball screen, but very well contained by the Hornets defenders. So, as the shot clock winds down, he's forced to get into his bag with the left-right step back that affords him just enough room to get it off and clean through the net. Here's another great set coming out of the corner with a handoff, but the real action is a simultaneous pin down from Maxey on the other side. The next progression is to post Embiid up off of his screen on that right block. When they realize they can't get it down low to Embiid, they turn to their newly returned star to bail them out, and there's something very calm and collected about the way he goes about his business of making tough shots in isolation, wouldn't you say? And if you're wondering how he's fitting in with Embiid, here are some examples. An empty corner inside ball screen is a great call because there is no help on the roll. PG has his choice of a pass for a layup, or hesitate slightly, then blow by Bam for the 2-footed dunk. If the defense wants to play drop coverage on this, it's a severe risk since Embiid sets solid screens and PG will have open looks like this all day long. Embiid also has some gravity himself as a three-point threat, so you can see how, after the switch, Embiid's man doesn't want to leave him. This opens up the floor enough for the crossover, which leads to the ball toss over the front of the rim. And this Iverson flare off of Embiid at the elbow causes both defenders to get hung up with the screener, getting enough daylight for George to hit the superstar mid-range shot. And getting back to what Paul was showing VJ in that pregame routine, here it is in action as he gets by Grant Williams and draws the foul when the inside-out dribble opened up Grant's hips and put him in non-legal guarding position. And we're starting to see it creep into VJ's game more and more as he hits the drop coverage with the in and out before hitting the step back midi, which should definitely look familiar to any Sixers, Clippers, Thunder, or Pacers fan. And here it is again on the same spot of the floor where PG was showing him, and he's already finding and hitting the superstar off the dribble midi pull-ups as a rookie. His ability explains why the Sixers were willing to trade Jared McCain and put all their faith in him. It's unclear how far this Philly team can go in the playoffs, as it looks like they're locked into a first-round battle with the Knicks. But on paper, and ignoring their severe injury issues, they have what it takes for the 6-3 upset and another epic rematch with the Celtics.